Harshad Mehta actually born in 1954, a normal poor family. Now he actually went to school in Raipur. During his school time, he even got suspended for misbehaving and misconduct. Now after finishing his school, he actually came to Mumbai to finish his BCom in Lala Rajpat Rai College. Now upon completing his BCom, he actually do not know what to do with his life. So what he did, he took on various month of job. All the jobs that he got to do, he just did it. One, exploring himself, what he wanted to do with life. Now, after this, he actually got an opportunity to become a salesperson in India Assurance Company, where he first got interested in stock market. Okay guys, before I move further to the story, right, I just give a quick example in a basic layman words on what is stock market. Now, stock market is actually a company shares that people buy and sell as per normal. An example, let's say we take an A company. A company actually sell one share is equals to, let's say example, of 1 ringgit. Now I'm buying these shares, right? So now while I'm buying these shares, right, the share price will go shoot up because the demand is there. So when the demand is high, the price goes high. So let's say I'm buying this share in early stages of 1 ringgit, right? So now not only me, other investors also buy these shares. So now when this goes high, what I will do, I will sell these shares in the higher price. So example, when I said earlier, right, it's 1 ringgit. Now when it goes high, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I sell my shares to the other investors who are going to buy the shares in anticipating more movements towards the graph goes higher. So now what I'm making profit. Now this is called stock market. Now what Harshad Mehta did during his work experience in Indian Assurance Company, right, India Assurance Company, he actually learned as much and as fast as he could, as much as possible. Down the road, he actually quit his firm and then opened his own company called Growthmore Research and Asset Management Company. Now, since he already opened his company, he could have stayed there, but his lust for money actually out of control. So he wanted more and became more greedy. So now what he did actually, he actually exploits the Indian banking system. Now to understand this scam, right, we need to know what actually happened at that point of time. Now RBI, which is Reserve Bank of India, actually mandated that all the banks should maintain a minimum level of funds into government bonds. Now the main bank, meaning to say a rich bank, could have maintained this much more easier, but while the weak bank actually struggled a lot because they had to rely with the main bank. Now if let's say they did not maintain these particular government bonds in end of each week, RBI would penalize them thoroughly. Now what this particular weak bank does, they will rely on the rich bank or strong bank to get the government bonds. Now in return they will pay interest. Now these actually both banks will not deal directly. There will be a middle person who called the broker as well. Now who's this broker is actually Harshad Mehta. Now how he got so influential is because of his company and his portfolio in making money. Whatever he invested turned into golds. And some even call him as the next Amitabh Bachchan of the stock market or even the big bull. Now what Harshad Mehta do in this point of time? Initially he did it as per normal to gain the trust of the bank influential people and everything. Now once he got this particular trust, now what he does, he goes to the weak bank. I'll talk to them, say okay, I'll get the government bonds for you and everything, but would you mind issuing the check under my name? So now since Mehta is already influential, highly influential, now this particular bank don't care much because as long as this bank got the government bonds on time, and there would be no problem. So now what this weak bank does, they issue a check under his Harshad Mehta's name. Now then he asks a few days time. Okay, just give me some time, I'll get the government fund for you. It's fine. Now the particular bank says it's fine. So now he goes to the stronger bank and purchase the government bonds in funds and also ask them to issue a check at my name, which is Harshad Mehta. Now neither of the bank actually got any doubts because Harshad Mehta actually is very influential people. Now when the end of time, which is the promised time came, the weak bank got their bonds, the strong bank got their higher interest. Now end of the everybody happy. Now how Mehta makes his money or fortune? Remember guys, I told you, right, Mehta actually wanted more time on both banks, right? Now all of this huge amount of cash is actually in Mehta's bank account. Now what he did, he will pump the cash into the stock market. Keep on pumping, anticipating the movement goes high, so then he would actually sell the particular shares and make profit, and while returning everything to the bank. Now this will take a longer time. If you notice, if I were to deal with one bank, another one, Mehta actually deal with multiple amount of banks and keep on rotating the cash around the banks while pumping the cash in the stock market, which something like an adrenaline shot immediately shoot up so high. Example of an particular stock market which he shoot so high, right? He invested actually in ACC. Now in early stage, ACC shares sold one share up to 200 rupees. Now within 3 months time, one share actually sold to 9,000 of rupees. Now could you imagine how crazy this stock market does? Now through this, right, he actually make a lot of money because he actually good at exploiting this banking system. Now the next thing what he does is much more crazier. Now Mehta making a lot of money through this particular exploiting bank system while dealing with a lot of bank because he's good at it, right? Now he could have do the same thing throughout the year up until today and make a lot of fortune, but no, Mehta wanted more and he wanted to create a history. Now how does he do it? He actually conspired with two banks, which is Bank of Karat and Metropolitan Cooperative Bank, while deal with high officials because he already influential and he already had a good reputation among the banks while exploring the banking system which earlier, right? Now how he convinces for them to issue him a fake bank receipts which could lead him into a much more big amount of fortune. Take a look at this video.
देखिए, कुछ लोग शेयर मार्केट में किस्मत में विश्वास रखते हैं, पर मैं किस्मत में नहीं, कीमत में विश्वास रखता हूं। साला, ओल्ड स्कूल हो या न्यू स्कूल, सबके सिलेबस में एक सब्जेक्ट कॉमन होता है, प्रॉफिट, और वो मेरा फेवरेट सब्जेक्ट है।
Now since Mehta convinced these two banks to issue a fake bank receipt under his name, so now what he does, he actually bring this fake bank receipt to another bank to borrow him the money. Now this particular bank don't care much because they thought that these bank receipts is actually original and is being backed up by government securities. Now they give him the cash under his name, and now what Mehta does, he pumped it into the stock market again. Now this is something like getting injection of steroid multiple times in the same day. Now stock market actually makes crazy amount of movements which go so high, right? Now when the promised time comes, what Mehta does as usual, he will sell his shares, make profit and give it to the bank as per normal. Now everybody happy, right? Now this thing has been going quite some time and Mehta makes fortune. Now what he does with his cash, right? He actually buy a fleet of imported cars which couldn't be afforded by the rich of the rich people in Mumbai, of Lexus, that is just coolly buys it and then drive it off in the streets of Dalal. And moreover, he actually even buy a 15,000 square feet of house, which inclusive of the mini golf course and swimming pool. Now these particular purchases, right, put him in the spotlight of media's attention and everything changed towards him. And he even give this bold speech. Now what bold speech is does? Take a look at this video.
बॉम्बे में स्टॉक मार्केट की घंटी बजती है ना रोज, उसी के साथ मेरे नाम का डंका भी बजता है। बॉम्बे बॉम्बे, यहाँ सब बदल जाए पर दरिया वही रहे। तो भाई मैं दलाल स्ट्रीट का दरिया हूं, जिसमें दम है आके थोड़ा नमक चख।
Now being in constant spotlight is not good for health. It triggers unwanted attention. Now in Harshad Mehta's case, it triggers an attention from a journalist called Sujitra Talal. She decided to do research on Harshad Mehta, how he making his fortune and where does this money come from. Now the moment she find it, she actually published her article in Times of India. Now this triggers a lot of strings of events. Now the first event is all the banks actually became so careful and alerted, they started calling Harshad Mehta and asking for their money back. Now guys, for Harshad Mehta, paying money back is not a problem because he just simply sell his shares in the stock market and makes profit and then give it to the relevant bank as per normal. But in this case, it could not happen that way. Due to Sujitra Talal's article, all the other investors also started selling at the same time. Now, the stock market began to crash so terribly until Mehta couldn't make profit at all. So even he sell his shares in the stock market, it would not enough to pay all the banks because that much of money he actually scammed. Now it didn't take much of a time to CBI catch him up and place him under custody and put a lot of mental pressure on him, which constantly triggers his heart attack, and he died off at the age of 40 plus. Now in my opinion, Harshad Mehta is a hero because he actually don't want to hurt anyone. He just exploit this particular business. Since you guys know the Harshad Mehta story, the truth and everything, now what do you guys think? Is Harshad Mehta a hero or a villain? Let me know in the comments. And please do leave a like if let's say you like my videos, and then if you like to support, please do hit the subscribe button and the bell icon beside of it, so that all of my future videos you'll get notified first. Thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.